earned the right to be there. And again, like the Roos, I give them a big chance. They've got to get the completion rate up a little bit. I think that's one area of the Sharks game that they lack a little bit. They like to move the ball so much. They pass the ball more than any other team, and they're happy to make an error or two. But when you play against the Penrith Panthers, the Panthers just love that live ball footage. They just go end to end, and they just constantly go set after set and just wait for you to make a mistake. So if I'm the Sharks this week, I'm doing everything I can to get my completion rate up a little bit and just be happy to play boring football. Be happy to go set for set with the Panthers, wait for someone to make a mistake and then capitalise, because I don't believe they can complete it 75% and beat the Panthers. They've got to get up around 85, 90% this weekend.
Gus, if you're coaching Cronulla, what are you telling them to do to beat Penrith, who are rested, ready to go?
Yeah, I think the first half the other night for the Cronulla Sharks was probably the recipe for them to control the ball, put the ball in the air, wait for that. I mean, their first few tries were off instinctive, off kicks, off, tap backs and penalty try and all that sort of thing. And they looked nervous to me, Cronulla. They looked like they were trying to control their nerves by playing conservative, and it worked for them, and they got off to a good lead. The second half, they didn't look so good, and Cowboys were starting to split them up through the middle of the field and probably could have scored another couple of tries. And at one stage there, we were thinking, gee whiz, they could run them down. Now, that's not a good sign at all. But the first half is the recipe. And I'll tell you something about Penrith. As good as Penrith are, Penrith will not try and beat you from their own end of the field. They will pay you the respect. If you keep controlling the ball, kick and chase into the corners and kick and chase into the corners, and you do a good job of it, they'll respect that by doing exactly the same in return. And they'll do it exactly the same in return because they think they're better at it and they think they'll wear you down anyway, and you won't do it for as long as them. If the Sharks want to win, they've got to be prepared to go 79 minutes like that. They've got to be prepared to go 79 minutes of holding onto the ball, getting to their fifth tackle, kicking into the corners, and make Penrith try to come out of their own half. Now, Penrith won't try to beat you from the back end of the field. They will just wait for you to crack. And the way you crack in that cycle is you give away a penalty, you miss a tackle, you drop a ball, and Cronulla can do that when they get under pressure at different times. So it's really going to be a war of attrition. If Cronulla are going to win this game, they've got to win it 12-8.
Gal, is Nico the halfback or the playmaker who can do that, who can play that style of game?
Well, they're a team. Everyone's focusing on Nico at the moment. And the knock on Nico 12 months ago was he touches the ball too much, he does too much. Then he got injured, he let these other guys take over a little bit. Now he's come back and he's just playing his role. And I feel sorry for him. He just can't win. He just can't win in a situation. When you're on the money he's on and you're expected to do a hell of a lot, you just can't win. But I think the way he played on the weekend, I thought Braden Trindle took a lot of responsibility off his shoulders, and I think it helped him. And at the end of the day, the Sharks won the match, which is what they're there to do. So whatever he has to do this week for the Sharks to win, that's what he's got to do. It doesn't have to be the best player, it doesn't have to be the worst player. He's got to go there and play his role. That's all he's got to do. The Sharks get the job done, who cares?
Repeat that from Trindle on Saturday night.
He was good, and he played a really good role, and he had that little bit of instinct that produced a couple of tries for them as well. He's a very capable young player, and as I said after the game, every final series kind of unearths a new star, and I think this fella announced himself. I think it was a real breakthrough game for him. He's taken his time to consolidate a spot in this side, and cometh the hour, cometh the man. He really stood up to what it was. The Sharks really need to trust in what happened in the first 30 minutes of this game, where they just controlled the ball and kept Cowboys at their own end of the field. Now, Panthers won't be as easy to crack, but you can score tries from kicks against the Panthers. And if you control the ball, you do limit the Panthers' attacking game. The problem is, if you give away a penalty or you give away a drop ball and a scrum winner, Panthers turn into a different beast. Once they come to your end of the field, they're really hard to contain. They're very good at what they do. And I don't think Sharks have got the defence to counter with that. So the Sharks' best defence is to keep Panthers out of their half, which has to be a single-minded approach to grinding the Panthers and make sure that they get the ball. Every time they get the ball at their own end of the field. It's not going to be easy to do for 80 minutes. But the more you do it, the more chance you've got of maybe causing an upset.
Sharkies were the second best defensive side in the competition.
Yeah, well, Paul, you're too many stats for me, mate. You've got stats
it's also facts.
Yeah.
It's also facts.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll see how they go this week.
Yeah, right, yeah. We'll see.